Welcome to the IDS training video titled How to Fill Out a FIAP. We hope you will find the content helpful. In this session, we will look at a sample AOC-CR-225 form. The CR-225 is an adult criminal fee application form, also referred to as a FIAP. The content of this video is intended to offer guidance to those who are entering information onto these FIAPs. The CR-225 is used to ensure that court-appointed legal counsel is paid for representing an indigent client. The purpose of a FIAP is threefold. 1. The FIAP is a request for payment by the attorney. 2. It is the official court order to pay the attorney once it has been signed by the judge. And 3. It serves as a recoupment document for court-appointed attorneys when there is a plea of any kind or a verdict of guilty. A separate video on recoupment will be shared with you. We will now look at the CR-225 and cover all the information required for every form. Once complete, the form must be submitted to the clerk of court for the judge's signature. Once signed, the clerk mails completed FIAPs to IDS to be processed for payment.
What you see here is the current adult criminal FIAP that IDS uses for processing payment for private attorneys who do court-appointed work. The best practice is to download the form and type directly into each field, as opposed to handwriting all the information. To access the CR-225, go to nccourts.org and click on the Forms tab at the top. In the Filter section, enter CR-225 in the field labeled Contains. The CR-225 is the first form you see listed. The most up-to-date version of the form will be found here. Please note, if the handwriting cannot be deciphered, the FIAP will be returned and must be resubmitted. This costs precious time and money and delays payment for the attorneys. The header is at the top of the page. All fields in the header must be complete, so if an application is missing disposition information, dates, and/or signatures, it must be returned and corrected prior to payment. First, enter the name of your county here. Is the FIAP for district or superior court? Check the appropriate box. For the file number, be sure to use the main file number. For a case with multiple files, you may list them below, but the file number in the top box is what our coding team will use to process the form. Here, enter the date of the court appointment and then the client's full name and address. The Social Security number of the client is also important. Please do not leave this blank. If, for whatever reason, the Social Security number is not found or does not exist, check the box to indicate there is not one. Without the Social Security number, recoupment of attorney fees, which is required by the legislature, cannot happen. Many people do not know. Even though the state provides and compensates attorneys who do court-appointed work, the defendant must repay the costs to the state if they are convicted of a crime. This is known as recoupment. Having the Social Security number is the way the judge can issue a civil judgment to recoup the client's attorney cost once the case is over. Section 1 is the application for payment. Check the appropriate box for Assigned Counsel, Public Defender, or IDS Contract Counsel, or MAC. Please note that only Assigned Counsel, or PAC, use this FIAP for payment. Contracted attorneys, or MAC, and the public defenders only use the CR-225 form for recoupment purposes. MAC attorneys and the public defenders use a separate process for payment. In box 1, enter the most serious charge. If the client has 6 charges, only list the highest charge. For the charge listed, if it's a felony, list the class and the name of the offense. If it is a misdemeanor, list the class. And if the misdemeanor is a Class 3, you must also attach a Form AOC-CR-224 or Order of Assignment form. In Box 2, enter the disposition. What was the ruling in the case? Only the disposition of the most serious charge goes here. For Box 3, Judgment and Sentencing, check the box to show the appropriate outcome for the client. Was it an active sentence? Was it dismissed? This is where those details are noted. If it was dismissed, recoupment is not allowed. In the box marked Final Fees Only, enter the final disposition date here. The disposition date is the date in which the judge declared the ruling. Just below, only check the box labeled Complete for this fee if the judge orders you to submit a timesheet. IDS does not require a timesheet, but a judge may ask for one. An interim fee app is a fee app filed in Superior Court before final disposition. Typically, these are high-level felony cases that take a very long time and for which the assigned attorney wants to be paid for work performed through the date of the interim fee app, pending the final disposition. If it is an interim fee app, type the beginning date and ending dates for this request. The box labeled Prior Total Fees and Expenses Allowed must also be filled out for interim casework. Here the attorney would enter all prior payments received for this case. If the fee app is not an interim case and the case has a final disposition date, the beginning and end dates boxes can be left blank. For these types of cases, only the disposition date is needed. The next boxes you see are Date of First Substantive Client Interview, Time in Court, Time in Court Waiting, and Time out of court. The name of the judge is very important. His, her, or their name must be legible. Please do not leave this blank. The total time claimed for this fee app is the total number of hours worked on this case or the highest charge. On the bottom row of that section, the attorney may indicate any mileage, copying costs, and all other costs which were associated with the case. Travel can be reimbursed only if the assigned counsel must come from out of the county. The actual cost of out-of-house copies are reimbursable with a receipt at a rate not to exceed 10 cents per page for single-sided copies and 16 cents per page for double-sided copies. The receipt for copies must indicate the number of copies prepared, whether they were single or double-sided, and the price charged per page. For other expenses, if the total is less than $25, there is no need to include receipts. For expenses totaling more than $25, please attach all receipts. Add these together and enter the amount for total expenses. Here are a few additional tips. Always enter the time worked in decimals. For example, if an attorney worked 3 hours and 45 minutes on a case, the conversion to decimals would be 3.75 hours. For your convenience, the IDS website offers a time-to-decimal conversion sheet. Go to ncids.org and hover over Defense Team. Click on Counsel Rates and scroll to the section Time Worked to Decimal Conversion. Also on this page, if you scroll up to the red box at the top, you will find an interactive attorney rate calculator with drop-down menus and pre-programmed rates to assist you. If an attorney has multiple court-appointed cases in one day, for example 4 cases, sometimes the attorney must wait outside of court before the hearing. If an attorney must wait, for example, a total of 4 hours, that time must be spread equally across all 4 state-appointed cases. Because we are stewards of taxpayers' money, The attorney cannot claim those 4 hours of waiting for each of the 4 cases. In the section below fees, you will see a place to enter the name of the applicant. This is the attorney's name who actually worked on the case. For the payee, if the attorney who performed the work is also the payee, enter their name here. If another entity should be paid for the work, such as the law firm the attorney works for, enter the name of the law firm here. It is important to note, IDS is only authorized to submit payment to the firm or person entered in the box labeled Payee. Next, enter the taxpayer ID. While some attorneys use their personal Social Security numbers for security purposes, all attorneys are strongly encouraged to obtain and use a federal tax ID number instead of using their Social Security numbers. All attorneys are strongly encouraged to include their phone number and email address in case there is a discrepancy or error on the fee app. It won't be returned if this information is not included, but leaving it blank could result in delayed processing. And the fee app must be signed by the assigned attorney. Once the fee app has been signed and dated by the attorney, you can move on to Section 2. Section 2 is the order to pay or fix value of services. In Section 2, if you are a PAC attorney, check the box for assigned counsel. Enter the total number of 1. Court-approved hours, 2. Fees allowed, and 3. Other necessary expenses allowed by the court. Line 4 is total amount to be paid to payee. Based on local rule, some judges want the attorney to enter the numerical information, and some judges prefer to fill this out themselves. In any case, first, make sure the correct rate is being applied. The current rates can be found on the IDS website. Go to ncids.org and hover over the defense team label at the top. Then click on the section called Counsel Rates. For the total, take the number of hours multiplied by the current rate and enter it there. Please note, if the fee app has an incorrect rate, it may be returned for correction. Or if the attorney filling out the fee app uses a rate that is lower than the current one, he, she, or they can opt to be paid at the lower rate as an alternative to correcting and resubmitting the application for payment. The back side of the fee app is mostly for recoupment purposes, but it also contains the space for one of the most important sections, the place where the judge signs the official order. Section 3 is Findings of Fact and Judgments. This section is for the judge to fill out. This is how the judge indicates if he, she, or they decide, for an exceptional reason, not to require recoupment of either 1. The attorney fees, or 2. The cost of the courts appointing the attorney to the case. Attorney fees for clients who are convicted are ordered for recoupment by default unless the judge checks a box under Judgment 1 or Judgment 2 indicating otherwise. In Part 4, every fee app must be dated and signed by the judge, and again, the judge's name must be legibly printed or typed for payment to be processed. Part 5 is for docketing use only. In this section, clerks of court will document the date when the civil judgment for the attorney's fees is entered against the client. Here are some notes for clerks. Clerks will need 2 additional copies aside from the original. 1 copy for the record, 1 copy to be sent to IDS, and 1 copy for the attorney. Once the judge has signed off, it is up to the clerk to mail the fee app to IDS for processing. When a batch of fee apps is received at IDS, it takes up to 3 weeks for processing, provided there are no errors on the form. Only the clerk will use the section marked with Roman numeral 5, which is for docketing purposes.
This concludes our presentation on how to fill out a fee app. We hope you found this information useful. Thank you for watching this IDS video production.